Happy Monday! It's Pet Week, so hopefully y'all will get some pictures of pets, or if you don't have a pet, you can take a picture of your favorite animal and show up to Zoom tomorrow with your favorite animal as your background. Okay? This is one of my favorite songs. It always gets me pumped up for the day. It's called Hot Butter. Hot Buttered Popcorn, actually, I think it's called. I don't know. It just gets me going. Anyways, all right, we are going to whoopsies, we are actually going to do a little bit of a review today. So if you are getting this assignment for today, that means that you are missing some assignments, and I'm a little bit worried that you're not caught up with the rest of the group. So please make sure that you watch this entire video, this entire Edpuzzle, and that you listen very actively, meaning you're not thinking about anything else, you're not on your phone, you're not watching TV, you're not playing games, okay? But you're actually thinking about science and genetics, all right? So there's a few things that we've covered so far in genetics, and that is inherited and learned traits, dominant and recessive traits, genotype versus phenotype, and Punnett squares and probability, okay? And this Edpuzzle is meant to help you catch up to where everybody else is. All right. So again, if you are receiving this as an assignment for Monday, that means that you're either missing your Monster Lab, your guided notes, or the Punnett Square practice where we crossed monsters. Okay, where we created Punnett squares to see the probability of Gran the monster and your monster and their offspring, and the probability of them showing different traits. Okay, so I just want you to be on the same page as everyone else. So please make sure that you complete this assignment today. All right, remember that the Edpuzzle stops when you are going to answer a question. Okay, so the Edpuzzle is going to stop when you answer a question. All right? Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about inherited versus learned traits. Okay, remember that inherited traits are the traits that you get from your mom and your dad. Okay, they're passed through genes and the mixing of mom and dad's DNA during sexual reproduction. Okay, so in an effort to hopefully make you remember, I put a couple pictures on here of my mom and dad. Okay, so obviously I get a lot of very curly hair from my mom, and I don't know what, I guess maybe my ears from my dad, our ears kind of look the same. I don't know. But those are the traits that you get from your parents, right? So like your eye color, the shape of your face, the shape of your eyebrows, the shape of your lips and your nose, the curly hair or the straight hair. Okay, those are the things that you get from your mom and dad. All right, and I put a little thing like they live in Pennsylvania. Okay. All right, the learned traits are things like being silly or having a sense of humor. The learned traits are traits that you get from your environment. So the things that you learn from your parents or your friends or even people at school, right? So maybe you learned how to be empathetic or you learn how to be a bully. Those are things are learned traits. They're not passed down to you. They're not genetic. Okay, those are things that you learned. We read the article about inherited traits, and I asked you to pull out and put in your notebook, all right, those examples of inherited traits, and those included things like being good at basketball or being good at sports. That's a learned trait, right? Also, I think there was something about your diet in there. That's a learned trait, okay? Your parents and the people around you are definitely inspiring what you eat, right? Okay, so that's a learned trait. You didn't inherit being tall or being short. It's usually due to nutrition in your family. Okay, you might have a better chance of being tall, but a lot of times it has a lot to do with what you're being fed or what you're not being fed. Okay. So we're going to stop and you are going to answer a couple of questions about inherited versus learned traits in the Edpuzzle.